Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another night of Fandom Access. I'm your ever faithful host, AJ. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to StreamYard, our new home. And Jamie and Karen are already here, except Karen looks muted.
we
Um,
we are learning.
I'm here. Hi.
and
Hi, everybody.
Karen can unmute
Hey
herself.
guys.
So, our new platform. You ready for insanity to ensue?
Yeah, we got all sorts of new features to try out here at StreamYard. It's going to be a great new place for us to be able to, I don't know, share some visuals, and you can see our little feed running across the bottom with our Twitter address and website. It's going to be a lot of fun being here. And we got to thank NDB Media for hosting us, right?
Yes, thank you so much, Roger. We appreciate it.
I thank all of you. And I'm going to be here for a little bit today just to make sure everything's going on. I do want to ask if my fellow co hosts are able to see in the upper left hand corner the live. It says how long we've been live and the number of viewers. And you already have a like. Do you guys see that up there?
Yay!
So
Are the
you
three
are.
viewers us?
Everybody likes us.
No.
Oh, no.
You
Okay,
actually
great.
have 3 viewers.
Okay, great.
I
We'll
just
have to-
recommend you don't say that on air.
Well,
But
to be fair,
only-
we've never done this before.
Only you can see that. So what I would do is put your mouse over the numbers and it will tell you the platforms. So I want to welcome the Twitter viewers on Sci-Fi Vision, the NDB Media YouTube viewers, and the NDB Media Facebook viewers. Want to thank you for joining us. And we already have a like from Elizabeth Olivia Cooper. Thank you, Elizabeth. And look, you see, you already have 2 people watching on your Twitter feed. So this is what I would ask before I monopolize. Everyone who's watching, why don't you drop a comment? Let us know who you are and where you hail from. It'd be nice to know. So that's it. I mean, look at the numbers. They're going up, guys. This is a live audience.
We
Don't
really
wanna
are
make you
talking
nervous.
to ourselves.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, shall we jump into it?
I was gonna say, get crack-a-lacking. You guys do your Who. You guys do
Yeah.
your Doctor Who, right?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to add Facebook. I didn't realize that there was a Facebook as well. Next week we'll have it live on Facebook as well. I did Twitter and YouTube, but oh well, that's good for now.
And thanks, Mark54, whoever you are out there in cyberspace, welcoming us to live video. We are glad we came over. So want to jump in? We have not been on the air since the Doctor Who Christmas special, right, Jamie? So that's our
Right.
up.
Yeah, so we'll start with that.
I have a nice little. I just got to figure out how to
hide the background.
highlight this a little bit.
You can
better.
laugh. You can laugh along with our bumbling if you're watching this and see us try to figure out what we're doing, but we'll get there eventually.
Trying to get our little Doctor Who key art up there. So it was our first Christmas special with Ncuti Gatwa, the new 15th Doctor. 15, right?
Yeah, 15. I had to think about it. Yeah, 15.
Yeah. I caught it a couple days late. I caught it on maybe the 27th, I think.
Yeah, I watched it on Christmas. You know me. I'm not going to wait, even if it's on Christmas.
Oh my God, Jamie, you would walk up away from the Christmas dinner table if Doctor Who.
Yep, if I had to, yes, I would. But no, we all sat down actually and watched it when it was on. But I really like Ncuti. I think it was fun. It was different. I'm glad that we had a Christmas special. Although, to be honest, I would prefer it to be a New Year's special. I like it better when it doesn't come in the middle of Christmas. But it was still fun. I liked it. I had that what do I call it, the Goblin song stuck in my head for a while because they released it early. I don't know if you knew that, but they had actually released like that performance sort of when they're going down into the Goblin ship. They had released online, so I had already kind of had it stuck in my head.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean, it was good. I liked it. I'm not sure. I was trying to think. Like, I guess it probably really so far doesn't really tie into anything else that we've seen like recently. You know, the storylines, a new storyline, and everything. But I seem to like where they're going with it. I like Ruby. I'm curious about, I know a lot of people are talking about like who dropped off the baby and was it actually her from the future or whatever. I don't know. That's, yet to be seen. But yeah, it was pretty good. And it looked good, of course. We've been talking about, obviously Disney adding their money has made a difference. I think you could see, that it looked a lot better.
Oh yeah, for sure, it looked good. So I also really enjoy Shudigawa as the Doctor. I think he's giving really different, a really different vibe, a really different sort of personality than we've seen in previous Doctors. He's very. We saw him dancing in the club, and he's very sort of. He's giving a very young energy, I think, and a fun energy, and he's like really, I think, enjoying being the Doctor. At least in this one episode, we've had some other Doctors who are really carrying the weight of the universe on their shoulders, either guilt over causing time wars or wiping out entire species or whatever. We got the Doctor. This Doctor seems less burdened by his past. For now, right? It's not that won't come back. I also really enjoyed Ruby. I found her really likable. And I guess I sometimes appreciate a straightforward introduction of the companion. Like, we had that complicated introduction of Clara or of some other companions sometimes. I love Amy Pond, but that, like, the girl who waited was a complicated intro also. And Ruby, like,
she's just there.
He just bumps into her, right? Like, but I liked it. I like her. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think there are a couple mysteries. So who dropped off the, Ruby and the Doctor have this.
Yeah, Arcus. I'm seeing if I can do this. Arcs54 is asking, who do we think Ruby is? I think there's a good possibility it could be a future version of Ruby. I think there's also a possibility that it could be maybe somebody that we know from the show that they don't want us to know who it is yet. Like somebody from the past of the show, maybe tying it in. Or it could be absolutely nobody important. There's always that possibility.
Yeah, it was really interesting that the Doctor chooses not to pursue the mother or the woman who drops her off. Oh, Michael River Song. Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, that was kind of my other thought when I was saying about somebody we know. That could be a possibility. I feel like there was a spoiler or something. They made it sound like maybe she was coming, but I don't even remember if that's in my mind. I may have made that up. I feel like I read that somewhere, but I don't even remember. But that would be cool. I'd love to see her again.
And would that make Ruby a child of the Doctor and part time, like three-quarters Time Lord, right? Like River's half Time Lord. Ruby, and the Doctor's a little Time Lord. That's kind of interesting. I hadn't thought too much about.
Yeah, and I just want to mention now that that Arc, I'm putting the comments up as we get them, and I know this background. I apologize. It's like really busy because I'm trying to figure out how to hide the rest of us in the background, so it's just the Doctor. But the whole thing with Carol Flood, the woman who makes the comment about the TARDIS, I had actually read. That looks better. I believe this was on. I want to say Facebook. I think I read it. Somebody had said something that made sense of like that Carol, like I guess her name's Carol Flood. I didn't realize that. They must have looked up the credits. But like Carol could be song and like Flood's like river, so that it actually could be maybe it's river. Like it would, or it has something to do with river. I shouldn't say that she's river, but that something to do with rivers going on. So I don't know. I think that's interesting and an interesting parallel because it made me think back to like when we had the whole thing with like Melody Pond and that there's no river or there was no pond in that land or whatever. And that's how she ended up river. Yeah. So it definitely made me think of that when I had started reading those comments.
Like Mrs. Flood could be the woman who left her there, her real mother. Except she's really old. She'd have to, Mrs. Flood, Ruby's turning 19. Mrs. Flood is like 70. So she'd have to like have been 50 when she dropped Ruby off. Could be her grandmother. Could be her real life grandmother, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but it could definitely be some kind of reference to River. I do think that that's a possibility. I mean, I don't know.
She does say at the end of the episode, she says to the neighbor, I think his name is stool. She says, "What? You've never seen a TARDIS before?" Like this lady, the next door neighbor, she's in on the. Although I gotta say, throughout the Christmas specials, like Unit and the Doctor are no longer like hiding and trying to pretend like, Doctor Who used to be like, oh, all this like alien invasion would happen, and then they would cover it up with a news break saying there was an earthquake or something, right? They seem to really not be concealing their existence anymore. So I mean, she says open. Not only does she know what a TARDIS is, but she says to this like totally naive guy, "Oh, have you ever seen a TARDIS before?" Like,
I mean, is that just for the audience, kind of like a kind of tongue in cheek thing? Does it have meaning? I mean, it could kind of go, I think, either way, honestly.
It reminded me of that scene in, when Harry Potter and Dudley are attacked by Dementors and the neighbor lady saves them. And she's like, "Oh, Dementors and little wind," and Harry Potter is like blown away that Dumbledore has stashed this woman next door to watch over him, and it reminded me a little bit of that scene where there's a neighbor who's in the know.
Yeah, so she could definitely be somebody, or I mean, we don't even know if. To be fair, though, we don't really know that Mrs. Flood is the woman that carried Ruby. I mean, it could be connected to Ruby. It could be two completely separate things. We don't know, but yeah, and I mean, I thought it was fun. I liked how they did the whole thing with. I think one of my favorite parts was the whole thing with like the ladder and him using the gloves and stuff, and almost like in a way reversing the polarity. I know that's not what he did, but technically, like reversing the mavity. I love that they also brought that little bit back. But yeah, pulling him up and down. My only concern is, and just going back to talking a second about Ruby as a baby and everything. My only question is if it could possibly be an older Ruby bringing herself, would that cause a problem with, the paradoxical thing? I mean, Doctor Who has kind of gone multiple ways on that. They've sort of broken their own rules before, so I don't know that necessarily could not be, because we have I remember there was an episode with Rose where like there was this whole thing like you can't meet yourself, but we've obviously had that happen before, so I don't know that I
don't know. I mean, that does lend itself to being River.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have like two things I wanted to mention. I mentioned to you when I texted earlier today, Jamie, that I did not love the song and dance number. The like kind of musical aspect where the goblins are like singing this little song about how we're going to eat this baby. And then the Doctor and Ruby like have a sing off against them kind of. I mean, I think a lot of people liked it probably. I'm just, me, I'm just Debbie Downer on that.
I liked it. It was silly. I think if it wasn't the Christmas special, some of the stuff I would have thought was too silly, but it was like a Christmas special. It was lighthearted. So I thought it was funny, and I could, I was okay with it. I don't know if I would have been like during the regular season. I might have been more the way you feel, but I liked the goblins though. I thought they were cute. Like, I don't think we've really had anything that's like that kind of creature. I was trying to think like if we had like a creature like that really before. I mean, usually it's like aliens or something. It was just I don't know, something different. But like I said, it was Christmas, so I was okay with that. But I also liked, I was just going to say, I also liked the whole thing where they did where when Ruby was taken out of the picture, how like everybody's lives changed. So it's showing like what a positive influence she is on everybody. Because I think that's, what a lot of the show is about, the Doctor changing people's lives, the companion changing people's lives. So yeah, that was, to me, I thought that was cute. I like that they did that.
Yeah. And with the previous three specials, they definitely they're bringing in the idea that luck and superstition and coincidence, these very non-scientific things are being brought in as like their own science, and something like the goblins who are maybe like a thing of fairy tales or legends are like actually real, like
mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. I think for this episode it worked. Like, do I want to see a whole series about fantasy things like that? Maybe not, but like I said, it's a Christmas special. It was lighthearted, so I don't think you had to take the episode too seriously, but overall I really liked it. I like Shooty. I like new companion. I think that they work well together as well. I'm kind of,
So
eager to see more of that.
where do you fall on the raging controversy online? The sonic screwdriver is not.
Oh my God, I do not like
screwdriver.
it. I do not like it. I do not like it. Look, I love that they changed things up in Doctor Who, especially this season. They've been changing a lot of things. We know that. But to me, it's not a screwdriver. No, it's not a screwdriver. How do you feel?
I don't hate it as much as I hated the sonic sunglasses. You didn't mind them as much as
I didn't mind them, but the sunglasses were an addition. He didn't get rid of the screwdriver. That's why I didn't mind them. And also, I like Peter Capaldi. But truthfully, if he had kept a screwdriver and added that, I wouldn't have cared so much. I just didn't really like that it was like such a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like shaped like a little, like it's almost like it's like a it's
like a
kind
little
of
laser pointer thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like a mouse, like palm shaped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ark says it's not a sonic screwdriver. Yeah. See, that's kind of how I feel. Not it can be sonic, but it's not a screwdriver.
No, it's a sonic.
It's a sonic doohickey. I don't know, something.
Yeah. No, I hear you, Ark. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I know. The one thing I don't think we actually talked about this when we talked about the other 3 episodes. What do you think about the inside of the TARDIS? Did we talk about this? Do you like this TARDIS? I can't remember if we talked about it. I could like it. It's different. It's high tech. Obviously they spent a lot of money. We've talked about that. And the rondels. Yeah, because that's right. We did talk about how the rondels are like LEDs or whatever.
I mean, I think it's interesting that this new inside of the TARDIS opens the possibility of there being other rooms. We know there are other rooms. We've just never seen them, right? Like,
yeah.
It opens the possibility that would we actually sometime, and also the budget I think is 3 times what it used to be now. Like,
yeah.
Is there a possibility that we could get another set that's another room in the TARDIS?
That would be really cool. I would love to see another part of the TARDIS. They always talk about it. We never see it. Yeah.
Michael and Arc 54 also pointing out that like you can really see the money that they're putting into the show with the new TARDIS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as they still have some of the sort of hokey stuff with the show, I'm good with the budget. But they do still need to make some of the villains be, Doctor Who hokey, in my opinion.
Like the Zygons always have to be.
Yeah, like they have to have some rubber suits and stuff like that, because otherwise, it's. Okay, Michael says that some of the old series had rooms. Was that in the? Must have been in the classic, maybe. Because I'm trying to think. I don't know if in the newer series if we've seen the rooms. I don't remember. I know that I remember Claire going into the wardrobe. I remember them talking about a pool, but I don't remember actually ever seeing anything other than.
I think that's pre-05.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, he's talking about the classic series. Yeah, I haven't seen enough of the classic series, unfortunately, to get an answer on that. I'm trying to figure out why part of my screen for some reason is blocked. I can't actually see I don't know why I can't see the top of the.
Well, I can get rid of the piece of artwork here in a minute.
No, that's good. I just for some reason it's not showing me like the top banner that like with the viewers and stuff. For some reason it's blocked with the with the little thing with the duck. I don't know why. I just noticed it's blocked. I can't see it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm just talking to myself.
So I don't know if we have a premiere date in 2024 when the show will be back. If we do, it escapes my memory right now. But we will have to set the show aside for a few months while we wait for the next big thing, the next episode to come along.
Yeah, at least it's going to be this year, but hopefully it won't be, too far. Whoa. I took the picture off. That's why. There, we'll put it back like that.
Thank
you. As you can see, we're still learning the text. So please, for anybody tuning in, please ignore us looking like we don't know what we're doing because we don't.
I don't know who just fixed that. That was either AJ or.
I put it back on 4 people because the picture disappeared. I didn't know so it wasn't just on me. But
right.
Yeah, but we're getting there. We're learning it. But anyway, overall, I really, just to sum up, I really did like the new series. I like Shooty. I like the new Doctor. I like the new companion. I like the new TARDIS. But yeah, I mean, I think we need to see more. Though. I mean, we haven't really seen a whole lot of any of it, but it was nice to at least get a Christmas episode.
Yeah, it sure was. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
I guess we'll be moving right along here to the next thing, which we can take up. Why don't we? It's been a long time since we've been on the air. We haven't talked about. We got to close out. Let's go
Murder at the End of the World.
To the world. Yeah, let's go to Murder at the End of the World. Which we haven't closed out how that show ended. And AJ, you're always so quiet in the opening of the show, and then we throw it to you to start to be able to talk about it, since you don't watch Who. So why don't you?
So, good thing I keep notes because it's been so long after our debacle at that other place since we've talked about it. But I mean, the key things that really stuck out was the fact that Lee turned out to be behind Bill, Rohan, and David, that they were trying to help her get away from Andy. You know, a lot came out in that last episode.
Yeah, I have feelings about that.
Yeah. So it was like they were all in cahoots to get her out of there because Andy is not the great guy that, you know, everybody thinks he is. Not that anybody really thinks Andy's a great guy or anything, but the twist, I mean, the fact that poor Zoomer technically killed them because Ray made him think that he was helping because Ray was under the impression they were a threat. Like that was a huge twist, and it was a brilliant twist. Like you guys know me. I see a lot of stuff coming. I did not see that coming.
I did not see that coming, but to be fair, I did say Ray. I wondered if it was possible somehow Ray was involved, but not in that way. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean that was crazy. I mean, I thought that last hour just flew by because there was so much happening, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I had a feeling, that she was reading her new book the whole time. All of a sudden, I don't know at what point it was, but all of a sudden I got this feeling. I was like, this is her second book. And then of course, you know, it ends with her doing the reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Guys, I'm going to switch to the other device really quick. So it's probably going to double for a second. So just ignore me for like 2 seconds while I try to do this.
So Karen, what were your thoughts that I get the feeling there was something you didn't like?
Well, I just felt that it got wrapped up really quickly. Like there's this major twist in the last episode, which look, we like to see a major, like, twists near the end are good, right? But like the whole Zoomer and Ray thing really, I mean, I guess a few breadcrumbs were there, but not enough that really almost anybody could have seen that coming, right? It just felt, it's a brutal twist with Zoomer having like basically been manipulated into killing his own father, right? But it's so much comes out about Lee and Andy, is that his name?
Yeah.
So much comes out about Lee and Andy in that last episode. I mean, we did also at the end get the end of the backstory about Bill and Darby and their pursuit of the serial killer. And, you know, as AJ brought up and we discussed, it turned out that the serial killer shot himself in the end, right? But the way that it impacts Bill and how Bill is like it brings him to like Darby's so exhilarated and excited after that and wants to immediately, you know, I've been watching Elementary and it's the way Sherlock reacts, like a case is solved, jump immediately to the next case. And Bill's like, I am so PTSD. Like, can we not talk about murder for like at least one day?
Yeah, she gets way too into it. She's obviously, you know, gets obsessed with everything going on in an unhealthy way. The one thing I wanted to ask you guys about that I kind of wanted to talk a bit about is Andy. Do you think? I mean, I don't want to say was he responsible? Yes, but I don't think, in my opinion, I don't really feel he was quote unquote guilty, because it makes me think of something like Minority Report. Like, just because you say you want somebody to die, or you think that you know of somebody dying because you're pissed at them, it doesn't make you a murderer. I mean, he was obviously caused it, but like, I don't think he was really. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, he was maybe to blame, but not necessarily guilty.
I get what you're trying to say.
At least that's how
So
I felt.
all right. So I understand what you're trying to say. Um, he's not guilty in that sense, but he's complicit because his ego is what let Ray do that. The way he constructed Ray, um, you
Right,
know,
but it wasn't
like
intentional.
Ray is very literal, and Andy did not put safeguards in place
That is true.
for that. All he had to do was write a code to tell Ray never to harm any human being in any way, shape, or form.
Okay,
That's all he had to do.
Isaac Asimov, right there. Robots cannot harm people. First rule, right?
But well, Ray's not a robot. Ray is an AI.
Well, yeah,
And-
but you know what I mean. Similar, so classic science fiction there that Andy should have read and known about.
Yes, exactly.
I mean
Yeah.
that's what makes this, you know, ultimately, I mean, this is a great kind of psychological thriller and a murder mystery, and in the end, it's a cautionary tale about artificial intelligence. Andy, he is complicit. He also is guilty of, like, you know, there's a point where Darby says, "Wait a minute, you used your, like, security system as your therapist," basically, right?
Yeah,
Like,
which was not the smartest
good.
decision.
and he's like, "I have nobody to talk to. Everybody's against me. I'm a billionaire. I have nobody to talk to except my robot, my AI." And, you know, Darby's like, "Gee, you know, I mean, Andy's like not a coder or a hack. Like, he's a visionary, but he's not the computer expert or the code, whatever you want to call whatever Lee
Yeah,
and
maybe
Darby are.
Lee should have given him some pointers.
Like,
and
Lee
said,
should have
be
been
more
like,
careful.
the way Darby accuses him at the end, she's like, almost like, "Oh my God, you bonehead!" Like, she's incredulous that he used his security system as his therapist, and she's almost like, "Duh, of course this happened, right?"
Mhm.
She's really stunned by it, and it's really, I mean, it's yeah. So it's a cautionary tale about AI. It's very timely in that sense. It's a lot of people compared this show to Black Mirror, which I don't know. I never watched Black Mirror, but
Yeah, I only watched a couple episodes of that.
and that was maybe even more cautionary, I think. But it, I mean, let's face it, Ray was creepy from the jump, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want my hotel room to be like,
Talking to
Karen,
me.
Karen, your heart rate is too high. Take a deep breath. Should I turn on the fireplace? But like, and she's like, "Ray, shut up." You know, she tries to. He was a creepy robot from the jump. Creepy AI. But I feel like if they had to have that twist that it was the AI that was like could have been predictable, but they made it really unpredictable by like implicating the child, which is just like shocking, like such a shocking and brutal ending that it overrides any sort of trope that might have been at work there, right?
Yeah, it's a sad tragedy. I mean, that sort of really sums it up quickly, but I mean, it is. I think they were all like, I loved sort of everybody's reaction on the show, because they were all just kind of like in shock. Like, I don't, you know, they didn't even expect it. Darby was surprised, you know, it was not what anybody expected, but it was interesting. It was a cool way to make it different, so that people were surprised. But I mean, I think probably some people did kind of suspect the AI, but like you said before, that was not really the part of the twist that was, I guess, the important part of the twist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I did expect this to have maybe some, you know, sci-fi elements behind it. And I mean, it's still got, technology, futuristic stuff. So it's still got some sort of sci-fi elements, but it was sort of straightforward, I guess, in a way I didn't necessarily expect when I started watching it. But so I think, everybody can like this. Like, you don't have to be necessarily a sci-fi fan to like this. It's not really a sci-fi show. I mean, obviously, we're talking about it, but
well, I mean, because it was brought to us by the people who created the OA,
yes,
which was
which
a great
I still miss. Yeah,
but I mean, I guess it's like a kind of twisty storytelling that that they excel. Britt Marling and Baj, that they excel at, right?
yeah.
For me, the other thing about this show was discovering. To me, I had not seen the star Emma Corrin. I don't watch The Crown. She played Princess Diana in The Crown, which I do not watch. Her work in the show is amazing. I thought she was so good in every episode.
And she also like changes so much. Like, she seems a lot of times to me almost like a different character.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her a lot. I haven't seen her in anything either, and I thought she was really good.
I think The Crown was like her most kind of high profile thing. She did one episode of Grantchester. She did a couple episodes of Pennyworth. She did, a lot of British stuff, Lady Chatterley's Lover. But I think this was her highest profile thing for American audiences. Well, in The Crown, right? And she played a young Princess Di. She was Princess Di in 2020. She played like the young Princess Di, I guess, when she was first getting engaged to Charles. She doesn't like other actresses play her later. But yeah, I will definitely keep an eye on her for future stuff. Arc 54 said, Arc 54 says The Crown is amazing. Give it a shot. I watched the first couple of seasons, and I went to a museum near me, had a traveling exhibit of all the costumes from The Crown in those first couple of years. And I saw all that, but like there was a time when I guess it was the time period when like Prince Charles was still like I guess it was in the Queen's early years. I kind of gave it up pretty early. And then like once you like I have to go back and rewatch it. So I will. I hear it's great, but I'll go back to it. I've only seen like 2 seasons, and I've seen all the costumes. And so Arc 54, did you think Emma Corrin's work was good in the show? I mean, I don't know if you watch this show, Murder at the End of the World, and if she was as amazing in The Crown as she was here, but if you liked her, you should check out this show because she's the star. She's in really like pretty much almost every scene. She carries the show. And she's quite young, I think, in real life. And it's really a great achievement for a young actress, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really seen... I've been going to watch it, and I never have gotten around to it, so I can't really comment on that.
Oh, yeah. She was born in 95, so she's not yet 30.
Oh, God, that makes me feel
young
old.
Actress, yeah.
Oh.
So, all righty. Anything
All right,
else
so
before we move along, you guys?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
Guess we can move on to
this is
Quantum Leap.
shorter show, I think, today.
Oh, look, I got that one pretty
Arc
good,
says I'm
right?
old. We're all old, Arc.
Look what a good job I did with
Yeah, see, that fits good. That's awesome. That fits well.
Thank you to NBC for having great stuff on their press site.
Yeah.
It's nicely in our thing there. So this is going way back. This episode was the Egypt episode, which feels like, well, it was literally last year.
Yeah, but I was going to say, when we have a show next time, we'll have a little bit more relevant shows. Everything we're kind of backed up on because of the holidays. And, we hope everybody had a good holiday too. I don't think we even mentioned, holidays, but we hope y'all had a good Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is you celebrate. We hope you had a good holidays. But yeah, this was the Egypt episode.
And this was a good episode, and it had some like big kind of reveals or turning points for the show. This aired, so December 13th. We've not been on the air, I guess, since then.
Yeah.
And this episode was called Nomads, and it was about is that correct? Am I right about that? Yeah, it's the one
Sounds
that's
right.
Yes. This was Nomads because the woman was Nomad.
Yeah. Her like code name was Nomad.
Was from Alphas. I don't know if you guys recognized her, but
I did, but the one that really got me excited that I recognized was Lou Diamond Phillips. That was
awesome too.
Captain.
Yeah,
right.
He's always great.
Yeah.
Always liked Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, he's cool.
So, you guys like this one?
Yeah, I did. And also for people, I don't know if people know this, but for people who don't know, we have mentioned it before, but this was actually filmed in Egypt. It wasn't on a soundstage. They took the production to Egypt, which is pretty cool. I feel like I was kind of surprised that we didn't get to, because they did that. I thought we'd see maybe a little bit more of Egypt, like a little bit more of the exterior, but it still looked really cool. But yeah, we also have Eliza back in this one too. I'm thinking it's been so long since I've seen this. I'm like, wait, trying to think back, right? She was in this one. Okay.
I mean, that is surprising. I feel like a lot of shows don't shoot on location as much as they used to, and
not that far now.
Definitely not in a place like Egypt. But you can't, a lot of shows go to they'll shoot in like Croatia or Romania, and it stands in for London or wherever in Europe. Really, no place can stand in for Egypt, right? And you can either CGI the pyramid in the background, or you can just do it. So thank you, NBC. We like to give NBC a hard time on our show here. But props to NBC for doing it right for this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, and for those of you who are new with us, we give NBC a hard time because they cancel every show that we like.
Yeah, it's not that we don't like NBC. We've just been upset with them sometimes. But they've kept Quantum Leap, so hopefully it has a good bit to come.
They kept the original show for 5 years. Hopefully we get at least that much out of this one.
Yeah. Well, I think they've got quite a bit to go. So I'm trying to remember. God, it's been so long since I've seen this. So we get, and I'm calling her Eliza because I'm blanking on her character's name.
Hannah. Her character's name Hannah. Eliza plays her. Hannah is the
So we get a little bit more of this kind of long distance through time, kind of romance thing. And was it you that compared it to River and the Doctor? Somebody I was talking to did. Was that you, Karen?
No, but that's interesting because
he's kind of moving. He's moving all over time. To be fair, he isn't necessarily moving in chronological order, but she, in a way, is kind of going in the opposite direction because he can be going back or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. I don't remember who it was that I read that, or somebody said that to me that kind of compared that romance, unless it was maybe in the interview. Now that I think about it, maybe Chris Grismer said, I can't even remember, so don't quote me, but somebody said it to me, and I remember thinking that was an interesting parallel, because it is kind of that sort of thing, because they can't really be, they can be together, but they don't know when they're going to see each other again. And she's never even going to see the real him, which is really sad.
She might eventually, but in that way that River always recognizes the Doctor, but the Doctor doesn't always recognize River, right? And this is the same thing. Like Ben always recognizes Hannah, but Hannah doesn't always recognize Ben. So I do think, they never show much of Ben's other body. Like they usually give us one shot where Ben sees himself in a mirror or a glass reflection, and that's the only shot we see of the real body that he's in. And AJ and I have talked a lot about how that's different from the original series, where you saw that a lot more. But this gives a lot of credit to Hannah's in love with Ben for Ben. It's not physical. He could be in somebody she's not attracted to. Like could there be? He could be in a physical body that's just not her type, but she recognizes him. She sees him for who. But he never has been. Like, look, it's TV, and he's never going to jump into an ugly person because those people.
No, that's not necessarily true.
But to be fair, like if we're gonna see them together, we're not that like what you're saying. It doesn't really matter because they're showing it as Raymond Lee, not as
yes. And he's not going to jump. He's not going to jump into a 15-year-old or an 80-year-old because that would be now inappropriate. But we never see much of Ben except as Raymond Lee. The old show gave us a little more of it. It's fine. And I'm talking too much, but coming back to my original point, the idea that she recognized him pretty quickly in this episode. Like Hannah recognized Ben
well, she said that she had been saying that to a lot of people. So she didn't necessarily recognize him.
Ben, are you Ben?
Yeah, she's been going around doing that. Ark is saying that wants to see Eliza more, and yeah, I think we all do, and that she could be the key. Yeah, she could be. I'm not sure how many times that she's going to be in the show, just that it was multiple episodes, and I know when I talked to her, she couldn't really reveal, when else she was going to be in and how many times she was going to be in or whatever. So that's kind of up in the air. But yeah, I think that that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. I've mentioned that in our previous shows. I've actually said that I feel like even the first time we met Hannah, actually, I said I have a feeling that we're going to find out that Hannah has been heavily involved in the Quantum Leap program for a long time. Now, granted, in 2023, she's like 90. So if we ever see anything of Hannah in the current, quote unquote, present timeline, it would have to be like in a flashback,
No, it'll be like Captain America. Well, like when Steve Rogers sees Peggy Carter, he goes and sees her old, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes
yeah, there you go.
Um,
but yeah, that's definitely something. What was I going to say?
Well, I think it's interesting that.
I know what I was going to say.
Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead.
So this is my favorite question every week. Except for the weeks we didn't have to have as this question. What do you guys think about Addison being back in the chamber already and that she met the new girlfriend?
I don't like it. I'm team Hannah. I haven't really been look, I try to give Addison the benefit of the doubt, but I haven't really been like team Addison since the show really has been from Ben's point of view, and it felt to us that Addison moved on quickly because it felt to Ben that way, because it was like 2 days for Ben, and she's like, guess what? I'm engaged, right? And we all don't trust Tom.
No, we don't. But I feel like the one thing is that Ark saying, are they the only ones suspicious of Tom? No, we're suspicious of Tom as well. The only thing I got to question is I almost feel like with these episodes, like I would almost be okay right now if the Addison thing was over, their romance. Like I before wouldn't have said that, but I don't mind the Hannah thing. But I'm pretty sure they have plans to, keep that, triangle or whatever, quadrangle, whatever it is now, going. I don't know. So I'm assuming at some point something is going to happen, whether it's she breaks up with Tom or maybe we find out he is, bad, or we don't know. But
do you guys find that love quadrangle compelling?
I don't know what you call it.
Do you find there's interesting tension there?
No.
There's a lot less now, I feel like.
I agree.
Because Addison's kind of off with Tom and he's with Hannah, and neither of them seem too upset about it now.
I feel like Hannah's a better fit for him. Like when the show first started, we were told they were together, and we were like, okay, you know what, I could see it. I liked them. The one thing I complained about endlessly was that he couldn't do a lot of things that Sam used to do because he's attached to her, and I always felt like it was hindering his missions. So the fact that when they broke up, I was like, whatever. But seeing him and Hannah together, like she's on the same level as him. Like, yeah, Addison works for Quantum Leap and she understands a lot of it, but Hannah gets the science. Hannah's his type of nerd.
Hannah is his type of nerd. That's kind of interesting. I think you're kind of right there. He like Ben has this like okay, I'm going back to my, I watch Seinfeld all the time. Ben's a cockeyed optimist. He's very like he always sees the best in people. He always wants to do the right thing. And Hannah's this person that's like, oh, it'll work out. Yes, we'll be together. She's got this very. And I'm not saying that Addison's a downer or anything like that, but she's got a little bit of a. I mean, she's got that ex-military thing in her that's just a little bit more. She's a little bit more analytical. Not that Ben's not analytical. He's a quantum scientist, quantum physicist, right? But Addison's personality is a little bit different. I can see how they. I can see how you say they're a better fit. I didn't love the bit. Sorry, it's my work computer. I didn't love the bit that we saw. I think it was the last episode where it was brought up something like, the collide. What they call it? Not the collider. The machine. The time machine is putting Hannah and Ben together because they're in love. It's putting them together. And I said to you guys, I felt like that was very non-scientific.
Yeah, I didn't really
necessarily
like that.
Not that it's not scientific. This is pseudoscience, right? But I felt like love cannot be the answer because I'm going to have to smash my TV if love is the answer, right? And there's one other show we watched that they were like, love is the answer. It's been other shows and I'm like, that isn't the answer. I'm thinking about Arc 54's comment that she thinks that Hannah, they, Arc 54, they think that that Hannah will be the key to not only getting Ben home, but getting Sam home as well. And then at the end of last week's episode, Tom walks in and says, I think we have a way to bring Ben home. I have this little tiny, like broken up piece of file of hard drive or whatever from ARPA, whatever, some government thing that I think we have a way. And it just seemed like, I don't know. I don't believe Tom is that tuned in that he would get away before any of the quantum.
Any of the other ones, yeah.
Before Ziggy, before Ian, before Jen, before any of them. And the idea that he was going to propose this week and then Addison finds the ring and then he doesn't propose. And then he's like, I'm going to bring Ben back. Like, I guess I don't trust. He's the most secure man in the world, and he's not at all jealous or worried that Addison is back in the hologram with her ex-fiance. And he's like, I
don't really buy that.
Maybe a man in the real world could be supportive and great like that, but not on TV. No man can be like that, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what though? I mean, it's almost. I almost hope he's not because you jumped on that immediately. Immediately, you're like, yeah, he's up to something. So I almost hope it's not to make not to say you're wrong, but because the fact that you jumped on it so quickly, it just kind of takes away from. You know what I mean? It's
too obvious. It's too obvious. It's going to be not him. He's going to actually be a good guy.
Yeah, could be the case.
So that should be back. That was the midwinter finale, and I believe Jamie, you might know more because you've interviewed it. And by the way, for people who are listening, you have interviews with the actors posted on sci-fivision.com, right?
Yeah, make sure that you guys stop by if you haven't and check out some of those interviews with both producers and with the main cast. I don't know if they actually posted a date. I don't remember seeing a date. That doesn't mean there isn't one.
I think I read that they were pretty well into production, unlike other shows.
Yeah, they were further into production
when the
during
strike.
because they had
Right.
already gotten a lot of it done. I was trying to see when it says, if I can find it quickly.
But they should be up soon.
Majority
They
of the shows
already
are back in January. That's not really.
they were already shooting the
Yes.
back half.
As far as
before
I know, they've already started shooting them, so it should not be that long.
Yeah.
I can probably find that out. See later if I can
We'll
get
Google.
any answer on that. But yeah.
They were done writing, and they were.
Yeah, I mean, they stopped. All I can say is that the press and the interviews that they were doing were leading up to this episode, and then they kind of dropped off. So they're not promoting it at the moment. So it's a little bit of ways, but I think that pretty soon they'll probably start, it up again. It shouldn't be too long, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think they were pretty deep into it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's put it
All
this
right.
way. Let's put it this way. I just saw the other day that The Rookie is coming back February 20th to give everybody an idea of what the strike did to everything.
is that show still on? Holy cow!
Yeah, season
1 million.
6.
Season
Season 6.
75. Season 6. That's all, really?
It's only season 6.
Wow. All right.
Listen, the day there's no Nathan Fillion on TV is a bad day.
Okay. Fair enough.
I agree with that. Although I haven't watched The Rookie, but yeah, I do still agree with that. I like Nathan Fillion.
Fair enough. So, all right. So this brings us to our last show of the night, right?
I don't know. Do you guys have what do we have? I mean, I did not get to see the end of What If. I didn't make it through to the end.
We have What If and
Oh,
we
I
have
forgot.
Monarch.
Monarch.
I forgot about What If. I actually forgot about What If.
Yeah.
Well, you watched it, right?
I watched most of the first episode, or like half of the first episode. I don't know. It wasn't quite done when the podcast started. I did not get to finish it, but we can talk about it. I mean, I don't care.
Okay.
And I did see part of it, so I get the gist of it. I just didn't see the end of what happened.
I watched it, but I didn't grab any key art from it. So we're just gonna have
That's
our
okay.
avatars up here while we talk.
That is fine.
So the first episode was the Nebula episode, right? Where it's what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was investigating what's his face's death. I'm so bad.
Not Yondu's death.
Yondu.
Yeah. So I continue to be pleasantly surprised at the number of marquee actors that they managed to get to do voice work in this. Now they didn't get like Glenn Close was Nova Prime in the movie, right? And so they didn't get her because, I'm sorry, but no way is Glenn Close signing a contract that just to do Marvel Universe baloney, right? But they do have I watched the first 4 episodes. AJ, you've watched about 9. And
I watched the last 2 tonight, actually.
Okay. But just like last season, they get a lot of marquee, Chris Hemsworth does several episodes. Tessa Thompson. So they can't they can't get Robert Downey Jr. They can't get Chris Evans. Either of the Chris's.
And Scarlett Johansson.
Chris Pratt doesn't do it either. But a lot of the actors do it, and it's nice.
Benedict Cumberbatch has done it.
Yeah. And Karen Gillan, and Jamie, you and I watched Karen Gillan so much on Doctor Who as Amy Pond. And she's so different as
Nebula, yeah.
As Nebula, but I really feel the voice work in this really allows me to hear Karen Gillan and hear what I hear her differently and appreciate what she's doing with that voice. I'm like, God, I mean, that's Nebula for sure. I've seen her in now God knows how many movies, but it's so different from Amy Pond, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I don't know how you feel about someone. You and I are just more familiar with her, I think, than AJ from her other work.
Oh, I've seen Karen Gillan in a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
her voice is definitely different for this, if that's what you're getting at. I mean, you can tell it's Nebula.
Yeah, her work is really obvious in this, and not in a bad way, in a good way. I know, Jamie. So you early today were remind me about the Nova Corps, and I actually appreciated that. I appreciate it because these what if episodes are going to some parts of the MCU that the Nova Corps is not. I mean, yeah, they've been in the Guardians movies, but they're not.
That's it.
They're not huge, right? They're a little slice of stuff. AJ, you read the comics. Are they? They've had their own storylines in the comics, I think.
Yeah, they're a little more fleshed out in the comics, but I haven't read the comics in forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was a little bit of a detective show, a little bit of detective thing of, Nebula doing detective work, doing investigative work, but she's also part of this, like the Nova Corps, are they police? Are they military? They're both. They're right.
They're different in this story.
Well, yeah, they're a little bit different. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because what if? Yeah, because what if? And there are all these twists. Having watched 4 episodes now, this is one of the better ones.
I really like this one. I got a strong Blade Runner vibe from it, so I think that was kind of cool.
Huh.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
Hadn't thought about it, but I see it. How she's moving around this sort of planet where it's kind of dark and things are happening, and yeah.
What is that? Somebody's watching.
Someone's playing the organ in their house, which is totally cool. And this one was a good one. Like, not all of the what if episodes, they're not equally like a what if. Like, some of them are like, what if Nebula, when she lived and went to this other planet and joined the Nova Corps, or what if other things happen. And then some of them are a little more lower stakes, or a little lighter. This one, like, I thought gave us a pretty good, like, what if, and we saw a whole bunch of other characters who were implicated, right? And I don't just mean like seeing Howard the Duck, because that's just like an Easter egg, I think, right? Mm-hmm. But like Jude Law is in this, right? Like, we see Jan Rog is in it. That's the guy she busts out of prison, who is from the Captain Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of having had to watch like 1 million chapters of Marvel, but it wasn't that hard to follow. It wasn't that deep, I thought. Like,
that's fair.
I think if you read if you read the little summary before you watch the show, you'd be like, "Oh my God, who are the Nova Corps? Who's Yana?"
That's what I said to you guys before I watched it, and then I saw Glenn Close's character, and I kind of remembered.
And then you watch it, and you totally get like the animation was pretty good. Like, she looked exactly like Glenn Close, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of like remember who they all are.
Yeah, the animation.
This, I thought, we'll get to this, AJ, but this was way better than the Kurt Russell episode that's coming up in 2 more episodes.
I didn't like the second episode,
and it's way better than the Jeff Goldblum episode. To me, we'll get to that. But this was really, of the first 4 I watched, this might be the best one.
Good to know. Well, you're like saying, well, the rest of them aren't very good.
No,
like,
I didn't say they're not good, but this was extra.
And I'll still watch.
So we're a little bit behind. There's a Christmas episode that is very good, I thought. And maybe we can catch up, maybe not the full show, but at least several episodes before next week's podcast, or whatever this is. Is this called a podcast? Now that StreamYard has video, is it still a podcast, or is it called
is it
just
a video cast? What is it?
It's still a podcast.
Yeah. And to catch people up who did join us late, we're now like going to be sort of changing the name around a bit, so that basically Fandom Access is officially, if we're calling it a podcast, the video cast.
Nobody can see us, so it's a podcast.
Yeah, it's still a podcast. No, but because it was a little confusing, I think, to some people before, that the name was different from the site, but it was connected to the site. So we're just going to be subtitling it Fandom Access, and it's all part of Sci-Fi Vision.
Yep. All right, so we got a whole bunch of these that we'll move through in next week's episode, because they're mostly pretty short. I mean, they vary in length, but they're not long episodes. What if? So we'll get there. When they drop a whole season, I mean, I don't really like to cover a whole season in one show anyway.
No, I agree.
No.
Allow us to really, like, analyze it, take comments, anything like that. So,
yeah,
okay.
well, you guys could talk about it some if you want. I mean, that's up to you.
No, that's all right. I think we can just wait till next week because we still have to talk about Monarch tonight.
Yeah, we got 3 of those.
But Jamie, you're not watching Monarch, right?
No, I have not watched it yet. The only thing
I like that Jamie says yet.
well, Jamie says yet, meaning she intends to watch it, but
Jamie's yet
with
list
all
has
the screeners I have, my intentions usually don't come to fruition. But at least not until you guys are done talking about it anyway. The only other things that I have that are coming up that I can say I've seen, which I know the one you guys don't watch now is La Brea, which is coming back on the 9th. Because I did the press junket with all the interviews for that.
Hey, Jamie, what season is that show in now?
3. It's the final season.
I cannot believe that. So I remember when it first aired, and I watched like the pilot and maybe one more, and I was like, "This show is terrible; it'll never last." And now it's in its 3rd season, and it's kind of like doing really well for NBC, right?
It's good. I
And
mean, I like it.
And that's the thing.
There are a lot of. I mean, there are some plot holes, if I'm honest. But I mean, I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I've liked it. It's got
cool.
a good dynamic between the characters too. Sorry, go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is, I stopped trying to figure out what NBC likes and what NBC doesn't like a long time ago, because it seems like everything on NBC we liked, they didn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, so if we're being charitable, let's just say that genre shows do not usually last long on NBC, right? Like high concept genre, like so much has been canceled on NBC, and now this is an Arc 54 loves it also. Can't wait for season 3, right? So should I have given it a longer chance than 2 episodes? I don't know. The first 2 episodes, I was like, "Are you kidding me? I can't watch this."
I don't know. Like I said, I like it. I mean, it does have some plot holes sometimes, but it's still good. I don't know. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the characters. But anyway, the point of what I was going to say in between all that is that I did put up before Christmas. Arc's right. They had canceled Timeless and Revolution, among
Can I
others.
just say, Arc, that
Revolution.
we all loved both of those shows.
Yeah.
Well,
AJ, not Timeless.
Wait, hold on. Did we love Revolution the whole time?
We liked it.
Okay.
We liked it a lot at the beginning, but there was other shows. It wasn't just those 2.
No.
I'm trying to offhand.
The event.
The event. I think
Yeah, we
Flash
liked
Forward on NBC. I don't know.
No, Flash Forward's ABC because it was on after Lost.
But we have long felt that NBC does not give genre shows a chance. And 3 episodes. I mean, they did give Manifest a good run, right?
Mm-hmm. And then it ended up on Peacock after.
But Arc 54 loved it. Jamie loves it. Timeless, Revolution. Revolution was a great concept, right? Like,
yeah, it was.
No electricity. Yeah.
We loved it at times.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just going to say, I did put what I was getting with all that is that I did before Christmas. I at least put up the first of the interviews because it was with just me. That was with Ian Mack and Nicholas Gonzalez and Zira Gorecki for La Brea. That's up, and there's quite a few more coming. And then also the other thing I put up that is coming, let me see the date, that comes out on the 4th is Sanctuary: A Witch's Tale, which is AMC Plus, which I really liked as well. It's about witches, but it's modern day, but it's kind of like I want to say kind of like a modern day witch hunt, because it's about like herd mentality and bullying and people going after them, and it's good. I like that too.
Wait, that's on AMC?
That's on AMC Plus.
Wait, and it's not
and Sundance now.
It's not related to A Discovery of Witches.
No, it is not.
And it's not related
to Sanctuary either.
And it's not related to the Mayfair Witches.
No, it's its own show. But that starts on the 4th, and that interview is up. The other thing we really didn't mention, I just thought we should. I don't think we mentioned before, that's new out. And I know, Karen, you had said you were watching it. Is Reacher? The new season of Reacher came out.
Oh, I love Reacher. It's not
Reacher's
sci-fi.
awesome.
We don't
No,
cover
it's not
it here.
sci-fi,
It's not
but-
sci-fi, but I love Reacher.
Yeah, I do too. It's really good. I know, and Richardson's is really good too. In it, it's a fun show.
A friend of mine, I told her to start watching Reacher. So she goes to season 1. She watches that first episode. And in the very beginning of season 1, where Reacher gets sent to prison, to jail, and a bunch of guys are like maybe going to attack Reacher. And my friend became very uncomfortable with the idea of someone being jumped in prison. I think she thought she was watching Oz. And she was like, and she turned it off. And I was like, oh no, girl, that is not the show you're watching. You have to turn it back on and watch what happens when guys try to jump Reacher. You're not watching Oz. And then she turns it back on. She's like, oh my God. And now she's like, she watched it in like 3 days. She watched everything. Reacher's really fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Reacher rules. It's really a good show. I love that guy. Nothing against Tom Cruise for what he did in the feature film, but
Alan's awesome.
Alan Richman is his name, I think. Richson. He's perfectly cast, and he's really great in this. And it's a well written. I've not read the book series. The child wrote something like 25 books, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good show. So we're watching it. You might have an interview coming up or not, or
potentially. And the other one is up. Didn't get the main cast this season. That was last season, but because they kind of changed around the press days, but there might be another one coming up. We're waiting to see.
Cool.
So yeah, and
so that's all on sci-fivision.com.
Yes, and then the other shows that are coming up soon is I'm not sure the date. I need to be better organized and have the dates of these listed. The other thing that's coming back, which I don't think you guys watched, I can't remember, but the Hallmark show The Way Home, which is also time travel-y. It's like or sci-fi-ish, because it's time travel. It premieres on January 21st. That press day is coming up. I don't know yet if I've gotten, but I covered it last season, so probably. But that's coming up. I really like that. I think it's good. It's different. It's Hallmark, but it's like sci-fi too, so it's pretty cool. So that's coming up. And then the only other thing that I have is that I saw Wonka, but that's not TV.
You saw Wonka?
Yeah, I actually. That's why I said my day got all screwed up. Our plans got changed around, but I saw Wonka today earlier.
So sometimes when you see a movie, I might ask you to wait and not review it. Quickly, Arc 54. Is this the last season of The Way Home?
I don't know. It's the second season. I don't know if there was more seasons planned. I hadn't heard that it was last season, but I don't know a whole lot of. I've watched it, but I don't necessarily know a whole lot of the background of it to answer that. I'd have to Google it.
All right. Well, anyway,
that starts January 21st. Sorry, go ahead.
Sometimes when one of us sees a movie, we'll say, don't review it. Let's wait until we all see it. Now, I have no intention of seeing Wonka, and I don't know if AJ has any intention of seeing Wonka.
No intention.
All right, then let's hear what you thought, Jamie.
I actually really liked it. Long story short, I had won some movie tickets from another site, and I had to use them before the end of the year. So I at least got tickets before the end of the year so I could use them. And there wasn't like a huge choice of stuff, but I really liked it. It's like a family show. It's a feel-good show, but it was cute. It was funny. I didn't realize it was a musical. There's not tons of music.
It's a musical,
but it's sort of a musical.
Original,
there's a few songs in it. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. It's a prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so it's definitely a different story. But some of at least the background music I know is from, and a couple of the ones that he sings is from the original, that they've kind of put in there. And there's like a sort of, there's a bit about the Oompa Loompas and stuff, but it's definitely a different story. I liked it. I thought it was cute. Like I said, it's sort of like a happy movie. It's not, it's nothing super deep, but it was good. I liked it.
All right.
I mean,
That's cool.
if I hadn't had free tickets, would I have went to see it or would I have waited? I probably would have waited, just because it's not necessarily my, the normal thing I'd see. I was going to go see Marvels instead, but it was at the cheap show, and I figured it was coming on Disney soon anyway, so it was kind of senseless at this point. But yeah, I've missed a lot of movies recently because of my foot, so I finally was just like, I will walk up the stairs in my stupid boots, and I did, and it was okay. So, but yeah.
All right. Good. Glad to hear it. It's not on my list. That's a thing that if it came on cable, I'd watch.
Yeah, but if it comes on TV, it's definitely worth watching. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and the music's good. And Timothy whatever his name is, Chalamet, he was really good in it.
I'm pretty devoted to Gene Wilder and that version and that slightly darker version of Willy Wonka that you see in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely a lighter-hearted one. That did make me want to ask the one thing before I forget. They had a preview of Madam Web. So I wanted to ask AJ, is that like alternate universe? Because at least in the promo, it looks like an evil Spider-Man. I don't know that it is, but that's what it looked like to me. AJ's like, oh no.
Oh my god.
AJ's in pain. Listen to him.
It is Sony's. I don't know why they keep doing this. Listen, Sony needs to stick to working with Marvel on movies. If they have their own ideas, they should stop. Because we also what happened with Morbius. Okay.
Oh, terrible.
Morbius became a meme overnight. I feel like Madam Web isn't going to be any like they're taking. I mean, Morbius is a fairly well-known character, so I understood why they wanted to do with a Morbius movie. I don't know what they're doing with Madam Web. And if the rumor that has been around for a while about the script for Venom 3 is even remotely true, oh my god!
I don't know who Madam Web is.
Looks good.
And there you go.
I mean, it looked okay.
And there you go, Madam Web is to the comic world. People know who Madam Web is. She's not a very common character.
Is she like an alternate female Spider-Man?
Yeah, that was my question.
No,
she's
not. No,
okay.
No, she's not an alternate female Spider-Man. No,
because the villain looked like an evil Spider-Man. That's why I wondered if this was like Venom's world or something.
I don't know what world this is. It's going to end up. Let's put it this way: it's gonna if the rumors are true, it's going to end up in Venom's world.
Okay.
Ugh.
Well, the movie looked like it would be good. I mean, whether it's related to the right, they've got a good story of the comics is neither here nor there. But they've
got a good cast.
Looked good.
And, I mean, I didn't like the Venom movies either, so I feel like Sony needs to stop because it's the whole thing with the rights, who owns the rights, and how the rights are owned and everything. So like they still have the rights to all the Spider-Man villains and everything. I mean, they were gonna make a movie, which they scrapped now, but they were going to make a movie about a Spider-Man character that appeared in one comic 40 years ago.
That's because Sony doesn't have rights to the main IP. Like Marvel, Sony has very limited IP rights, and they're mining deep into the Spider-Man backstory and other little bits.
I mean, I can understand it. They want to jump on that train and make the money Marvel is.
Yeah,
I mean,
but the problem is they're crashing the train. They're not. They're
jumping
but they're
off still,
the train.
I'm sure, making lots of money on it, whether they're crashing it or not.
Morbius lost money.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did. That's like if you were ABC and you own Lost and you sell off some of the rights, and the only people that Sony has the rights to are Scott and Steve.
Oh, that's funny.
That's problematic. Scott and Steve are both dead now.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't
So that's
matter.
the alternate universe of Scott and Steve, right?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. There you
Going
go.
on at
There you
Tony,
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I
All
digress.
right. We digress. So, all right.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All
Or
right.
you guys can talk about. Oh, the other thing
Yes.
I just want to mention. I did also see a preview of. I don't remember whether it was Godzilla Kong or Kong Godzilla, but
Godzilla
that looks
versus
good too. Godzilla versus Kong. That looks good too.
that's the next movie, right? Godzilla versus Kong.
No, the next one is
No.
no. Next
We
one
already
is
had Godzilla versus
Godzilla,
Kong.
Godzilla, and Kong.
It's
got an
Godzilla
X this
X
time.
Con. It had
Yes.
Kong. It had like an
We-
X in it.
Yeah,
I didn't know how you were supposed to say it, but either way, it looks good.
We already had Godzilla versus Kong. The new one is Godzilla X Kong.
Okay, well, it's coming anyway. It
Yes.
looked pretty good. And it looked like that was Dan Stevens in it. I didn't look it up to see, but it looked like
Really?
Dan Stevens. It was
That's
really quick.
That's a perfect segue since our last show tonight is Monarch.
Monarch, yeah.
And we're behind. We're doing episode 7. We're a little behind, right? But we'll catch up. So, all right. Well, Jamie, stick around if you want to hear about it. But this is also on your not yet list, right?
Yeah, but I'll try to stick around. I'll sort of
Yeah.
multitask.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. So we have Monarch, and it's on. If you're new with us tonight, it's on Apple TV. And Roger and AJ and I had a conversation. Well, Roger and I yesterday, and then with AJ, I think, in today, about how Apple TV is like the place right now for really good science fiction. There's so many good shows on Apple TV. I kind of enjoyed this episode. So this episode was called. I forget the name of it, but this is sort of like the aftermath of Godzilla emerging in Tunisia. And there's a little bit of look, you can't pay attention to how quickly they fly around the planet. Like in this episode, they're in Tunisia.
It's like 20.
Seattle.
It's like 24.
Yeah, it is. It's like 24. Except they're on planes.
Nobody wants to watch an hour of them sitting on a plane.
Right, or more hours, right? Like they went from Tunisia to Seattle, which, it's come out of North Africa. You have to go to Europe, then you have to go to another place in Europe, then you go to the East Coast. That's easily like a day and a half trip, but they did it in like 5 minutes. But whatever. It's also about giant monsters, so we're going to suspend our disbelief. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. AJ, you and I both prefer the 1950s storyline, I think, to the modern storyline sometimes. And this is another episode with no 1950s. I was surprised at how much I didn't hate May's backstory. Like, Kentara's backstory, I was like, oh my God, he's a tortured painter. He has daddy issues. Shut up. Move on.
I completely agree.
Yeah? Did you find
it's actually funny. When the episode first started, Artie was like, oh, now we got a May's backstory. And I was like, I don't mind the backstories. I was like, I'm actually kind of curious because May actually has some intrigue to her. Like we know there's some shit going on that we don't know about her yet. I think the best part of her backstory is her backstory is 10 times more relevant than the other two.
Right. Like Kentaro, Kentaro's just like a tortured painter with daddy issues. Yeah. And then Kate, at least she was at G-Day and lost her girlfriend, but she's apparently more tortured about being a cheater and like she's got some PTSD that's a little bit better. But yeah, May's story is like really relevant to a point where it almost is too much to a point, but yeah.
May's boss, who is played by Dominique Tippett, who from The Expanse, she played Naomi.
It was so great to see her.
It was funny too because like I'm looking at her and I'm like, wow, she looks really familiar. And then all of a sudden there was a certain angle and I was like, that's who that is. And Artie's like, who is it? And I'm like, you don't recognize her? And I was like, look at her. And he's like, I can't get it. I was like, it's Naomi. And he just stares at me. I was like, from The Expanse. And he's like, oh.
AJ, I had the same thing because I'm looking at her. I'm like, who is she? Who is she? And for me, it was her voice that gave it away at one point. I'm like,
it was just certain angle at one point. Well, I mean, she had more hair and she had makeup on. I don't think she ever wore any makeup on The Expanse.
No, she had
So.
more hair, she had makeup, and she had a much more she wore like a outer space mechanic jumpsuit for like 5 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
But
great to see.
the
She's fantastic.
reason her character is so important though is she runs AET, which by the end of the episode merges with Apex, which is the company that created Mechazilla.
Yep, from Godzilla versus Kong, right?
Kong. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you find that really interesting, or did you find it to be a lot of? I don't know. So, I would like to see May's storyline have more than just that, right? Like, so it builds up to that, and it turns out it's like a bit of an Easter egg if you've seen that previous movie, or presumably they'll be in the next movie, maybe, right? Like, I don't know. Like, they're setting it up also for future movies in this MonsterVerse. But I want, I don't know. I'd like May to be, her backstory to be more than just like setting up. Like, it's a setup for a past movie. That's not cool, right? I want to be a setup for more.
Technically it's a setup for a future movie.
Yeah.
Yes, the movie came in the past. The movie came before technically, but it's for the future events.
No, but I mean, there will be another movie where maybe Apex has I don't know.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's possible.
Right? Like to set her up for a movie that is in the future, but we all watch in the past, and not everybody has to watch. You have to watch those movies to watch the show. That's one thing that's good about Monarch. Like, I feel like Monarch is so the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets more and more complicated, and sometimes you really need to have seen at least 1 or 2 previous movies to understand what's going on in a show or movie. And I feel like Monarch is doing a pretty decent job of, like, you don't have to have watched all of it. It helps to have watched it, but you don't have to, right?
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of things with Monarch is it's filling in pieces and giving us stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's like kind of, Monarch has its own story, but it's still very connected.
So this episode, AJ, gave us no 1950s story, but we also had like a little bit of a flip of the script, I thought, in this episode. Like we have been led to believe that Lee Shaw is, like, as Jamie would say, he's the good guy. He's the good guy. He's the guy that kids can trust. He knew their grandfather. He knew their father. He's their guy, right? And then the Monarch people and the French lady, what's her name? Tabitha, I think. I forget her name.
I just keep calling her Frenchie.
Frenchie and the beardy guy, his name is
Tim.
They're like the bad guys, and they've been chasing them around. And look, nobody's good. None of them are really treating our protagonists with any degree of honesty or care. But in this episode, things flipped a little bit. Like, the Monarch people, Verdugo, who's the curly-haired lady who's the boss, and Tim seem to maybe be people that are more genuine. And Lee, I mean, what Lee does in this episode is like, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I actually said that to Artie. I was like, wait, isn't Lee supposed to be the good guy? I'm like, everybody is very, very in areas of gray all of a sudden. Like, I was very surprised by Lee, because I was like, I don't get it. Like, Lee seems to care so much about this family, yet, I mean, he was in love with their grandmother. He was best friends with Bill. It's like something. I was like, what is? I'm not even sure what Lee's motives are or what his goal is.
So I agree with you on that, because we saw in the previous episode where we saw how Lee was in love with Keiko. Keiko was maybe in love with Lee, or she was definitely attracted to him. We have not, and she's like, we can't do this. She puts the brakes on it. She won't get with him. We have not seen how she gets with, falls in love with Bill, but that's what happens, right? I don't think that the lost love is what motivates Lee. We have also seen that Keiko was killed by a bunch of like kaiju cockroach babies or whatever they were, right? That ate her. And so he might have turned against Monarch because of that. But it also doesn't explain why he would undertake what he did in this episode. He goes to the Monarch base. He goes back to, he's another one who can fly around the world in 5 minutes. He gets to Alaska.
Yeah.
He gets all these explosive, and he's going to blow up that, they call it the rift, but it's that hole that heat monster fell in, right? And he's going to blow it up and kill the heat monster. I felt like he should know better. I felt like I've seen 100 monster movies, and there's no way that what you're doing right now will do anything. You cannot stop Godzilla or anybody else, right? Like, I thought it was and then, they drop the bombs, they create the vortex, it sucks the heat in, and the giant heat sucking bug looking monster, whatever his name is, I don't know. He maybe is killed. I think that's. I thought Bill Randa should know better. Not Bill Randa. I thought Lee Shaw should know better. And everything I saw. What do you think about that? I rambled a little bit, but you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very confused by what his, like, part of me thinks, okay, is he trying to close off Hollow Earth? Is he trying to get to Hollow Earth? Like,
right? I think he's trying to close it.
That's what I think too. I think he's trying to close it.
I don't think he can close it. I think it's a bad idea.
It's funny actually, because we know he can't.
Oh yeah, in future movies, yes.
But it's, yeah. I mean, how many episodes? What's left? This was 7, 8. So there's this was 9.
This was 7. We're behind. This was 7. We have 4.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. What 3 episodes do we? I don't even know what 3 episodes we're at.
We're going to be 11 episodes. We've watched 7.
There's
8
11.
already.
I thought there was only 10.
There's 11. 8 already aired, but we're behind. We're not talking about that tonight. So we're 1 week behind, but I think that, like, I was so confused by Lee Shaw's actions in this episode that I thought, does he have a secret plan that I don't understand right now? Like, I'm like, well, you're trying to blow up this rift and you think you're going to close off the Hollow Earth. And are you going to, I just don't, how could you have been on Monarch before it really was Monarch and be so, Keiko's personality is so wrapped up in, we shouldn't kill we can't kill the kaiju. We can't kill Godzilla. When they tried to blow up Tiny Godzilla, not Tiny Godzilla, that's the wrong movie. But when they tried to blow up Godzilla, she cried because she thought it was wrong to kill that creature. Then later she's upset because she's like, look, if they can't blow him up with this bomb, they'll build a bigger bomb, which is a totally legit thing to worry about. And I get it, right? So I feel like what Lee is doing is very counter to the philosophy of the woman he loved. So I don't get it. Like,
which is why Lee is so confusing.
Right? Have we just not yet seen a flashback that's going to reveal to us why he acts like this? Or
very well could be.
Look, I'm not
very well could be.
I'm not complaining about flipping the script on a good guy becoming the bad guy, so to speak, right? Like, that's great. I enjoy that part of the story. That keeps us on our toes and keeps the tension going, but it just was hard to make any sense of today. This week.
Well, I think that's what it is. I don't think we've seen that flashback yet that explains.
We might get it. We had no flashbacks.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah. Well. All right. So next week we're behind. So maybe next week we'll cover 2 episodes if we can and get ourselves caught up.
We'll do 2 episodes.
Okay. Right. Good. I think that brings us to the end tonight, huh?
Yes. So I think that our first show on StreamYard. I think we did pretty damn well. We were so worried.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we need to learn how to do the graphics a bit better. I'm not sure. There's got to be a way to
Oh,
disappear.
Jamie's back.
Yeah, I'm still here. I stayed.
Jamie's
I'm still here. There's got to be a way to hide our boxes, or we got to like lay it out so you can see who's talking, but you could still see the keywords.
Well, you can.
I don't know.
There's ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there
we
is.
have to mess
There
with
is.
it, and we'll get
But
better.
we were pretty basic tonight because it's not like we actually see us anyway.
Right.
At the moment.
Now next week, Gary Morgenstein is coming back. We
talk
don't
about his
know.
book.
Yes, and we don't know whether we're doing video or whatever. We got to talk to him and see what goes on. But we will be back next week, and I will get it set up so it streams on the Facebook page as well. I don't know why I added Twitter and YouTube and forgot to add Facebook, just because I'm dumb. I guess. Thank you, Ark. We're glad.
Thank you, Ark.
We're trying, but I'll have it synced to go live there as well. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed. Please make sure you visit sci-fivision.com and our Twitter. And if my server crashes, just try again. I have to say that 'cause it's been shit lately. I'm sorry, it has been. I need to move it, but I need money to do that. So for right now, it sometimes crashes.
Well, we're going to make so much ad money here on StreamYard.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. Great to be back.
And
with
thanks
you.
for
Yes.
everybody who listened.
Great to
Thanks,
meet some
Ark,
new
for
people.
following along with our show, and thank
And
you
for
again to
Michael.
Roger.
Michael's in the chat, and
Yeah,
others
Michael as
here with
well.
us. Yep.
Thank you to Roger and NDB Media. I can't talk. NDB. There we go. Media for hosting us, because we would not be able to have a show right now without it. So we appreciate it.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Well, what shows, other than talking about Gary's book next week, what's on next week? Like, we have more What If to talk about, obviously.
What If, Monarch?
I don't think Quantum Leap's back.
No, Quantum
Leap is
not back yet.
We can talk about, well, you guys don't have AMC Plus, so I was going to say if you can watch Sanctuary, but you probably won't get to see that. I'm not sure what all, other than La Brea, which you guys I know don't watch. So I'm not sure what all we'll be talking about next week, but
no. So I mean, in January, there's not a ton of things that we cover. Like there's,
it's because of the strike. Everything's kind of petering out.
I mean, so True Detective is back. We don't cover it on this show, but True Detective will be back. Which I don't know how we all feel about that. Some of us feel burned by that, but that's coming back in January.
I haven't watched. I've only seen the first season of True Detective.
I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah, so Halo's coming back in February, which kind of surprises me that got renewed. That was one slow show, but Jamie and I watched it all the way through, and we'll probably pick it up again, right? In February.
Yeah, when that comes back. But we'll find some. We'll probably just talk.
We always find something to talk about.
What we've seen this week, but we'll definitely, get Gary on, talk to him, and if anybody has any other suggestions,
and not for nothing. Not for nothing. Who knows how long we'll talk to Gary?
That's true too. But seriously, if for those of you who are listening, if there's shows you want to hear about, or the shows you think we should watch, maybe that we'd like, let us know. But we'll sort of catch up on what's been this week, shows or movies. Now that the holiday's over, I'm sure I'll be finding more stuff with all the screeners that'll come up that I'll have to watch.
And
find something good. Tell you guys what to watch.
Maybe next week I'll take 5 minutes to try to sell you all again on For All Mankind, which is another fantastic show.
I have too much to catch up on that. I like the show. I just have so much to catch up.
5 seasons too much? What?
Well, I've seen the first 3 actually, right? I think I'd have to think about it. The other thing is the Ones Who Live.
That's in February. Coming in
February. Yeah, that's what I was looking for the date. That's coming. The new Walking Dead spinoff. Now, Karen, you're gonna watch it, and I'm gonna watch it. You are watching it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am so
I'm gonna watch
invested. You and I
Okay.
are so invested in the Walking Dead
And
universe.
AJ has given up.
Can't not watch it.
AJ gave up a long time ago.
I know. We'll have to see. I need to try to too. And this is for people who are listening. This is one of the other things too with making this sort of the official, Sci-Fi Vision channel. Hopefully, maybe we can get some guests for things, or at least, maybe play some clips and stuff from the interviews. I can get some permissions, and we'll see. That would be good. But yeah, maybe we can get some guests. And that's the other thing too. Make sure you guys, if you're watching this on, Twitter or on StreamYard rather than YouTube, make sure you head over to our YouTube, because there's tons of, I've been going crazy with all the Zoom interviews for everything. So there's tons of interviews with, the shows that we talk about with the actors and the producers and everything. So make sure that you head over to there, and it's just, YouTube / Sci-Fi Vision. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. And yeah, I don't really have other things in stone yet for interview wise. That's why I haven't really, outright said anything.
That's all right.
It's coming, but there
So-
should be stuff coming, and the show's coming out, and I'm sure I can pretty much say positive, almost 100% sure there will be stuff for the ones who live. Interviews coming up. They're not usually on YouTube, just because AMC doesn't do video, but that will be covered for sure. And Ark's a hardcore Walking Dead fanatic. Well, that's good. Make sure you listen to our show once we start talking about.
I don't know. Arc. We can be a little critical sometimes. We
should say that ahead of time. We are negative.
can be
sometimes
critical
about the show. Karen's a little bit more critical than I am. But but yeah, we still watch it.
We welcome a debate. With
Yes.
Because we haven't been on the air in a minute, I was going to mention this to you guys the one night. Have either of you watched Leave the World Behind on Netflix with
No.
Julia Roberts and Ethan
No.
Oh.
Hawke?
I wanted to.
It's been getting,
I have not seen it.
it's funny. I've been talking to people. It's been getting mixed reviews. I liked it a lot. Other people didn't like the ending so much. It's based on a novel, but Sam Esmail wrote and directed it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah,
Alright.
I saw
So-
I saw on Graham Norton when Julia Roberts was on, and it made me want to watch it, but I hadn't gotten around to it.
Yeah, it was. I liked it a lot. It was really good, and apparently there is a sequel coming.
Cool.
So
Wow. All right.
Well, like I said, guys, anybody listening, let us know what you want to hear us talk about, and feel free on subsequent shows. Obviously now we're about ready to wrap up, but feel free to call in. Let us know your thoughts too. Well, I guess here you don't call in. I don't know. How do you?
Yeah.
how do they talk to us, Roger?
As a matter of fact, the guest code that you would be providing guests, you could provide it to them, and then they could show up in the green room, as I mentioned, and you can bring them on. So you may invite people to join live. So all you have to do is invite them by using the StreamYard code under invite and posting it as a comment, and let everyone know. There it is, folks. The item has been posted, and you guys can use that code and you can join us. But don't do it today.
Yeah, because we're getting ready.
because we
Is
are
that the
finishing up
same
now.
every week though, or does the
No.
code change? It's the same. Okay.
As soon as this program ends, code is gone.
Okay.
Ah.
And to answer Michael who commented, yes, we do cover the arc. We covered that pretty extensively last season, and there's also interviews for the arc up on the YouTube page too.
Well,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I talked to the whole cast for that.
The entire cast.
I believe so. I'd have to go back and see, but I believe so. Yeah, but that was during a junket. They weren't on our podcast.
Bet you didn't talk to them all at once, though, Jane.
Like Roger.
No.
Oh, thank you,
Right.
AJ.
3 of them at a time, I think. No, I did not.
That's what I was alluding to. Is you've spoken to everyone?
Yeah, not in one big conversation, no, but I've spoken to them all. Yeah.
Like
Look,
Rob-
even Michael, who arranged it for us, he's like, "Wow."
Yeah. Those interviews
it's,
are
it's
there.
all good.
Yeah, that's
Jamie,
a good show. I like that show.
I'm messing with you, all right? I understand that.
That's okay.
Well, thank you, Roger. Thanks for having us on your channel, and thanks for backing us up here tonight. We really appreciate
I
it.
do want to remind everyone that this is their first video live internet. That's it. They have, Jamie, how many years now? 15 years?
Something a lot.
You are
I don't know when
almost
was
like,
Lost on.
Yeah. Well, no, I
yes.
was doing it before you guys started, though. I mean, I was
Yeah,
way before then.
I
so-
had to,
Boy,
when,
I'm
when I
Angels.
first started. It was actually funny because I started calling into Jamie's show during season 2 of Lost. Like I called in like every week.
Yeah.
and the next thing and then Karen started calling in, and then the next thing I know, the three of us have a show.
Yeah, we just
Yes.
go
Hey, that's how it happens. It's happened with us. And for those that know and don't know, I've said on other channels that what was so cool
Yeah, almost 20 years
was
ago.
almost when they had their program for Lost, we were doing one, and it was friendly competition. I know
Yeah,
that we were watching what they were doing, and I'd like to believe they were watching what we were doing because we were trading off guests. There were 3 solid years that we were in competition, which was fun. And look, what are we now? We're compatriots in this, which is really
We
neat.
had a merger. We had a merger.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah,
all
we
I can
merged.
say is that I am thrilled to be associated with all of you folks. If you've enjoyed this, they just got on the bike. All right. They're going to be doing a lot of other stuff, and they have a lot of stuff. I thank them for making the move over to video. And I know you can't see me right now, but I'm holding up my pocketbook. Feels a little heavier now
Good.
because we're not going to be paying Blog Talk Radio, but I'm only kidding about that. So, guys, check it out. Head on over to their website. You see it down at the bottom, sci-fivision.com. Head on over to twitter.com/sci-fi vision. It's there. And I'm not kidding. They have, oh my God, they have so much on their website. And head on over to blogtalkradio.com so you can listen to all the stuff they've done before. So I thank them for making the move. It's a lot easier. I think they're going to find it fun over here. We'll see. But
it works better than Blog Talk Radio.
let me tell you, I want to thank the audience. There were a lot of people here. The numbers were much greater than I thought. And this was just the very first episode. I know you guys are going to do well. You've been doing well. You guys are going
Thanks.
to carry it over.
We're happy to be here. Thank you
Yep.
so much. All right.
Yep, and thank you for supporting us. Like I said, we wouldn't be able to do this without you, so thank you.
It's all good.
All right. Can
All
I get
right.
this? Take us out, AJ.
Stick a fork in this. We're done.
Bye.
Went with an old classic.
See you next, or talk to you next week, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
For me to get out of here, I have to.
And everybody hears us figure out how we're
I'm
ending.
trying to
Just-
leave. I thought exit studio.
Quick, leave the
Yeah,
studio.
somebody has to
And
end it,
stream
though.
at the very top.
Yeah, and
Oh,
stream.
AJ, you're the producer. Click end stream.
AJ's gone.
Bye, guys. I'll hit it. Bye bye.
Bye.